guys, Magical Girl Maya here again. It's been a while. I'm back in a new space and I'm back with really a whole new thing. I kind of got worn out doing makeup all the time and I recently really fell hard into knitting, and so I was like, oh, let's just do a complete 180 here and I will share my knitting with you guys. So if this is super boring or you don't like it, go ahead and turn it off now, because this is apparently the direction my life is taking me. So I thought I would kind of introduce, not necessarily introduce myself, this is my channel, I've made a bunch of videos, but I figured I would introduce how I got into knitting. I think 2 or 3 years ago I did a 365-day blog where I had to craft every single day because I'm a crazy person and I thought that would be a great idea, and I'm really not sure why, but I loved it. I really did. And during that time I taught myself to knit because I wanted to learn a bunch of new skills. So I taught myself like basic coding and knitting and jam making and just a million other things. So crafts are a big part of my life. I do crafts all the time. When birthdays come up, I almost always make things, or when weddings or anniversaries or housewarmings, anything that would require a gift, I bring flowers and usually some sort of craft or handmade object or food. It's just how I roll, I guess. I'm kind of a grandma on the inside. All of my friends make fun of me for it. I suppose I should start by talking about some of my works in progress. I have a lot of them. I'm apparently a sock knitter. I sock on the go. I sock all the time. I'm always socking, always knitting socks. I have 3 different socks on right now, and they're not just 3 socks, but 3 completely different socks, 3 completely different patterns. And one of them is done and I'm making its twin, and the other 2 are brand new. So we'll start with the one, they're all just like cast-ons and ribs. It's ridiculous. So this is will be my second St. Patty's Day sock, and this is Hippo for St. Patty's Day by Lolodidit. You're gonna notice a big Lolodidit trend in a lot of my yarn. I just think she makes the most beautiful, pleasant, enjoyable to work with yarn that I have probably ever used. So I buy her stuff a lot and I talk about her a lot. If you follow me on Instagram at Magical Girl Maya, you know, because I am always posting my knitting there. And then second, I'm making a sock with my Lolodidit Hippo for Valentine's Day. Oh, it's got a hair on it. Gross. Sorry about that. Hippo for Valentine's Day. And again, it's just the rib. This is a 2x2 rib. My St. Patty's Day sock was a 1x1 rib, and this is going to be a heart pattern. It's on Ravelry. My Ravelry, by the way, is Skip Red, because that's my gaming handle, and I use pretty much the same handle all across the internet for my hobbies. So my Instagram, YouTube is Magical Girl Maya, but my Ravelry is Skip Red. So I will post all of these things on, I guess I'll have to create a Ravelry group, and I'll post links to the yarn and the patterns that I'm using for you there. Sorry. And I hopefully will post it below if I remember. And then my third sock, which is not very interesting. I'm trying to get into the different styles of making socks. This is a Rose City Roller. Everybody talks about these. You cannot be on Ravelry without people talking about making a pair of Rose City Rollers. It feels huge in my hands. Like my other socks, I always feel are too small, and I think it might be the yarn that I'm using, but this sock feels huge. It's beautiful. It's Peyton's Croy sock, blue raspberry, something like that. It looks like this. I am worried I'm not going to have enough for a second sock. We'll see. Hopefully I do. I would be really sad if I didn't and I had to go get another one. But it's a self-patterning yarn, and I'm really, really enjoying the look of it. I have been working on this for weeks because I don't enjoy the feel of the yarn. I tried in February to make a pair of, I forget what they're called. They're a free pattern on Knit Picks and they have hearts all over them, and I was like, oh, for, you know, Valentine's Day, that'll be great and beautiful. And I went to make it, and that is not a pattern for beginners. It beat me up. I tried making it 3 or 4 times and I just didn't do it. I just didn't do a good job. So I gave up on that one and instead decided to treat myself to a different kind of yarn, because I was also using a Peyton's yarn for that one, and it ripped my hands up. I couldn't do it. I had to start over like 4 or 5 times and I hated it. So I treated myself to a yarn I really, really liked and just decided to do a much simpler sock for it. These, however, are 9-inch circulars. I just got into using 9-inch circulars. These are from, I don't know, they're the wooden Japanese brand. I'll have to look it up. Clover. Ha! I think it's Clover. And then these are ChiaoGu's 9-inch circulars. Everyone has ChiaoGu needles. I don't know why I'm even mentioning them. But I thought I would hate it. Wanted to try something completely different. I love it. It is now my preferred way of making socks. I definitely prefer the metal to the wood though. The wood just grabs the yarn so much and I'm not a big fan. My other project on the needles right now is a Susan Claudino stuffy knit. And please excuse the fact that my eyes are in the wrong place, and I realized that yesterday and I got really sad. This is a gift from my husband. It's Wasabi, and this is Cloudborn DK something superwash in Lagoon, I believe is the color. It's actually looking way darker on the camera, but it's a very bright blue and it's beautiful. It's also kind of rough to work with. It's a little, not scratchy, but you know, it tugs on itself basically. And so he's turning out super cute, minus his eyes being in the wrong place. And this is a gift for my husband who loves whales and has a phobia of squids, so I made him a whale because, fun fact, blue whales are the natural enemy of giant squids. So there you go. There's some scientific knowledge for you today. I guess that just leaves me with my finished objects. There are not many. I've actually only been seriously knitting since about the middle of January, and you can blame the Yarn Hoarder podcast, the Grocery Girls, and my time doing crafts for all of that, because I got super into the concept of a knitting podcast and I was like, oh, I should do that. I would have to knit first. Let's knit. Completely have entrenched myself in knitting. My entire stash is sitting right here. It's not that much. I could actually do a video of showing you all my entire stash, but I cataloged it because I'm a crazy person. And it's 50 something skeins of yarn, which my husband thinks is way too many. But if you look at anyone else that I follow, they have like thousands, maybe not thousands, that might be exaggerating, but they have hundreds of skeins of yarn. So, you know, I think I'm doing okay for myself. But with finished objects, I only have 2. I've posted both of these on social media actually, but my favorite probably is this, and I'm so proud of it. Oh, I have 3. I have 3 finished objects. I lied. But the first one is Jason's cashmere hat that I made for my roommate out of Lolodidit Fly Eagles Fly colorway, and I bought this little pom-pom on Amazon. But I love this. It's so, I hope y'all can see it. It's so beautiful. It looks really understated, but the green is so, I don't know, vibrant, and like at the same time it's a little like dusty. I think it's great. One thing I will say though, I was really worried to begin with, because if you can see, there is a lot of flashing and pooling on this bottom rib here. And then once I started getting into the actual cabling, it just relaxed. I didn't change needles. I didn't change anything. I just changed the pattern I was using, and it just self-striped beautifully, and it was so soft. This is her worsted, and it is just, oh, it's so pretty. It's soft, and my roommate loves it. So if you follow me on Instagram, I have said this a million times already. I love this story. I actually put it in my comments when I bought the yarn. My roommate is a big old Patriots fan, and he swore up and down that the Patriots were gonna win the Super Bowl. And I bet him that if the Eagles won the Super Bowl, past tense, sorry, if the Eagles won the Super Bowl, he had to buy me this beautiful Lolodidit yarn that I had stumbled across and wasn't going to get because I'm not an Eagles fan. There was no reason for me to buy this yarn other than the fact that it's gorgeous. And so I told him he had to buy it for me if they won. And I was going to make a hat for him, and he had to wear it. And he took the bet because, you know, he was invincible. He thought he wasn't going to lose. There was no way the Patriots were going to lose. So it's not a pretty hat. I loved knitting it. The pattern is great. It's actually a free pattern. I'll find it and post it down below. It's so easy to read. It knits up like a dream. And it's just beautiful, and it looks gorgeous finished, and it looks good on. And he actually, despite himself, I think really enjoys it. I think he really, really likes the hat. Hope so. He's just not wearing it now out of principle. And then my next finished object, which is also green, and that is my St. Patrick's Day sock. Because, as I mentioned earlier, its twin is on the needles right now. And this is the hippo for St. Patty's Day, all knit up. Hopefully you guys can see that. This is Hermione's Everyday Sock, which is another free Ravelry pattern. And for the heels and the toes, I also used Lolodidit Sasnach. That's how it's written, but I think it said Sasnach, if my, Gaelic is not failing me. And then, yeah, just like, I follow the pattern completely for the heel and the toe. I think it might be one of the most beautiful things I have ever knit in my entire life. I'm in love with it. And what's funny is I've knit a pair of socks for my husband, Alex, and he was kind of lukewarm on them because it was like beginner testing knit, test your yarn, nothing too great, nothing too exciting. Vanilla sock all the way. I think it was Go Your Own Way from Knit Picks English. And he wasn't crazy about them. I don't think he's even worn them once, but when I was knitting that sock, he kept coming over and being like, "That's really pretty. That looks nice. It's gonna be a cool sock." And then lastly, it is a baby blanket. It's huge. I can't hold it up and have you like see it at all, but it is a baby blanket. It's a Bernat something. I've also posted this one on social media. I'll see if I can find the pattern for it. But it's a Bernat fabric. And it is a beautiful blanket. It is huge. I got a little overzealous and made this just gigantic blanket for my friend's baby. He is due in April. And this is the friend that actually officiated my wedding. And he's one of the first friends that Alex and I ever made together. His name is Patrick. He is 6'7". His wife is, I think, 6 foot even or 6'1". So I made a really big blanket because they're gonna have a really big baby. And hopefully they love it. I'm actually gonna make them a little stuffed toy, so I'm gonna do that before I send this to them because they live in California and I live in Texas. They've moved away recently. It's very sad for me. But I am just so excited for them. I'm so excited to give them their gifts and to get to meet the little baby. So yeah, this was like 9 million hours of my life. I don't know if I will ever knit a baby blanket ever again. I mean, maybe, one day when I've forgotten. Like pregnancy, you know, like when you have the baby and you sort of forget how horrible pregnancy is and how horrible it is to give birth. It'll be like that. Once I have forgotten how horrible it is to have to make a giant baby blanket, I'll do it again. Much smaller next time. I can't do all of my acquisitions, obviously. Like I said, I should probably just do a stash video just in general. But I can do some of my more recent acquisitions, which are almost exclusively Lolodidit. So just skip past this if you're tired of hearing me talk about them. But my favorite thing that I've gotten recently, I think, yeah, it's probably my favorite thing that I've gotten recently, is Lolodidit's Hippo for Easter. This is the 2018 version, obviously, because I bought it this year. And it is so beautiful. I just love it so much. I almost bought a sweater's quantity of this and made the easy one by Joji Locatelli. That's on my list of things to do, but it is so stunning, and I figured I should buy one skein and knit it up a little bit and see how I like it, how it goes, and then figure out if I want to buy 9 more skeins and make a sweater out of it, so we'll see. And then the next thing I actually bought 2 of. Zombie Dust is my husband's favorite beer of all time, and Lolodidit does a Zombie Dust colorway. And this is it. So I bought it on Everyday Sock because he's a little rough on his socks because he's a dude. And so I bought it on the Everyday Sock for him to turn into socks. And then because the only thing he's honestly shown that much interest in that I've been making is stuffies, I bought it for him on the DK. And I also bought like just a huge collection of Susan Claudino's patterns. So I was thinking I might make Dandy Cercephalopod in this for him. And I also picked up a Lolo box, which is like a surprise box of yarn. And that came with this, which is just called Lolo box, and Coal Miner's Daughter in her little Lolo, which is a beautiful gray. I'm not sure the camera's even doing it justice, but I think this was going to turn out to be Pride and Joy. I'm not sure what it was supposed to be. She mentioned that all of her Lolo boxes are things that didn't turn out quite right for what she had in mind, but I'm going to make a Cal and Mari Susan Claudino for the baby, for Patrick's baby, out of this yarn. And I'm going to use, let's see, oh, here it is. I'm going to use what is going to be the heels and toes of my Valentine's Day sock, which is Sriracha by Lolodidit. And I'm going to make this a Superman themed stuffy. So it's gonna have a little S on its chest. So it's gonna be Cal L Mari. I'm really proud of that one. I love that joke. I think it's so dumb. But it's gonna be super cute. So I'm gonna make him a giant squid, and then Alex, because they're like bee fries, so I'm gonna make him a giant squid for his baby and Alex a giant, you know, whale. So enemies but friends. And then I also ordered the Little Lolo Easter pack, which comes with Elba Island, Julep, Shaboom, which is way more beautiful than I ever thought it would be. I would not have bought this for myself, but now seeing it in the Little Lolo, I love it. It's beautiful. Bumble, Naked Hippo, and Pink Tuscadero? I'm not sure how you say that one. I was actually thinking about buying these 2 anyway to make the 3-color cashmere cowl in a Sailor Moon theme. Not Sailor Moon, Sailor Jupiter. Sailor Jupiter is my favorite. She is, I just love her. You don't want to get me started on that road. It'll get crazy. But I thought I would do these 2 colors and a neutral color. So I picked up Naked, which I think is just an undyed yarn from her. And I thought those 3 would be beautiful. And then Alex sort of brought up, it's like, yeah, but it would just look like some weird pastel cowl that you had made. So I might go with one of the pinks from her Barely There collection instead, and then do a slightly darker cream. And I'm torn between the mint and like a really vibrant, like wild green. We'll see how it goes. I'm still deciding. And then lastly, what I wanted to talk about was I wanted to sort of highlight some things I bought on Etsy because I'm trying to be a responsible small business buyer of yarn. You know, I don't want to just go to big box stores and get things that everybody has or buy things online all the time that everybody has. And I want to support people who are local to me because that's really important to me. I have a lot of friends in the craft scene who need local support and I want to be a friend to them. And so I went online on Etsy and I found some local yarn dyers and I made a big purchase of at least one of them because I really loved both her yarn and kind of her like nerdy image, and that was Jinx Yarns, and she's out of Dallas. I am out of Dallas, so that's exciting for me. But she makes these like nerdy themed beautiful yarns. This one is called Hyrule, and like I don't even know if the camera's doing it justice. It's so beautiful. This is a 80% merino, 20% nylon. Oh, and the majority of the sock yarn that I have from Lolodidit is actually plush sock, which is, let me see, 75% merino, superwash merino, 15% nylon, 10% tencel. Makes sense. But except for the everyday sock, obviously. But this is Hyrule, and it's beautiful. This is Guardian. I believe this is meant for Guardians of the Galaxy because it's the right colors for Guardians of the Galaxy. Jinx Yarn, if you're watching, let me know if I'm wrong, please. But this is so beautiful. And this is in her power sock, which is 75% superwash BFL and 25% nylon. I talk really fast, so I'm sorry. I'm working on it. And then I wanted to make a hat for someone. This is all super secret. So I bought her charcoal, which is just beautiful hand-dyed charcoal color. It's everything you expect it to be. It's actually looking kind of purple right now. But it's this very like blue tone gray that's just smoky and delicious, and I love it. And then I think this is a fairy tale reference, and fairy tale is one of my favorite animes. So this is called Urza, and it's bright red. Sorry, my camera cut out there. I lost all its battery. I haven't used it in a while, but that is actually, I believe, it for me. That's all my kind of interesting things right now. I've got a bunch of projects that I am hopefully going to be coming up to soon. I will list them in my, I guess my Ravelry page if I end up making one, hopefully. Hopefully I remember to do that. And yeah, so I hope you guys have enjoyed this and join me next time. Bye!